What's up, Goofy Goobers? Welcome back to another video where today I'm going to do something a little bit different than what I usually do. I'm visiting my family this week and I came across some old Minecraft handbooks I loved reading as a kid. These handbooks were very useful to help beginner Minecraft players with certain aspects of the game, such as building amazing looking structures, creating redstone contraptions, and mastering combat. Though these books are pretty outdated, being written when Minecraft 1.7.10 was out. My favorite was the Beginner's Handbook, which teaches players the basics of Minecraft and how to thrive in a survival world. Though it wasn't my favorite because of how it taught me how to survive my first night, but because I was very fond of the little stories sprinkled in, told by some original Minecraft Let's Players, those being Paul Soared Jr. and CaptainSparklez. So I thought it would be fun to take a small trip down memory lane and read these little stories for all of you. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Paul Soared Jr. My first day in Minecraft. Survival Single Player. SSP. I purchased Minecraft in July 2010. Notch had just released version Alpha 1.0.3, which added monster sounds and cave noises to the game for the first time. This was a time before chickens and cows even existed. It was a time when zombies dropped feathers. A time before the hunger bar and auto-healing. A time before comfy beds to sleep through the scary night. It was a long time ago in a long forgotten age. My first day in Minecraft started well. The landscape was beautiful with its bright grasslands, sandy beaches, dense forests, rolling green hills, and tall mountains with waterfalls cascading down their stony cliff faces. I just started wandering, exploring every nook and cranny. It felt like I was on some sort of fantastic journey in a wild, undiscovered place. A brave new world that no other living soul had ever stepped foot upon. Not counting the few pigs and sheep I'd encountered, of course. Then the sun sank beneath the horizon, and nightfall covered the land in darkness. That's when I discovered I was not alone in my world, and that I shared it with a variety of terrible monsters. Zombies, skeletons, and giant spiders were literally popping out of the dark all around me. Not surprisingly, they didn't seem particularly interested in sharing their world. Rather, they were far more concerned with making me a snack. Their snack. The chase was on. The nasty blighters were persistent and pursued me this way and that. I ran for my life, but quickly realized there was no place to go. They were everywhere in the dark of night and inside caves as well. I had no light source, no shelter to hide in, and no weapon. So I did the one thing I could do. I continued to run. It was during this mad dash for survival that I met my first creeper. I had no idea what it was, since it didn't resemble any typical monster or creature from familiar lore or legend. At first glance, it appeared to be harmless. It didn't have any sort of visible weapons. Heck, it didn't even have any arms, and I must admit, it was even a little bit cute. Maybe it's friendly, I reasoned. I moved towards it, thinking it might help me against the monsters still giving chase. As I got closer to this odd creature, it started making a hissing sound. That actually sounds more like a sizzle, I thought to myself, as I came face to face with this strange, adorable creature. And then it started to expand. Kaboom! The creeper exploded and blew me to smithereens, and the screen reported, "Game over." Thus ended my first day in Minecraft. I eventually decided to make my own tutorials to help people not get eaten on their first night. Hunting Animals by Paul Soared Jr. I usually feel guilty when I need to kill animals for their resources. Sometimes, however, an animal will employ special tactics to confuse and frustrate you to the very point that you can't wait to kill it. I remember a particularly annoying cow in my early days of survival. I had searched far and wide for leather but could not find any cows. I was nearly ready to give up when I spied a cow on the edge of a cliff. The cliff face was too sheer to climb, so I used the gravel elevator trick jumping in place in gravel below you, to raise myself to the cow's height. As I reached the top of the cliff, the cow decided to employ his secret evasion tactic. Jump! The cow landed far below with a crunch. I shouted angry words and dug my way back to the ground. The cow seemed to be out of escape tricks, so I killed it, and it went poof and dropped nothing. And the moral of the story, when you go hunting, bring a bow. An Early Encounter with a Creeper by Paul Soared Jr. On my first world, I had a small home carved into the side of a hill. I built a balcony overlooking the front lawn. At night, I would stand on the balcony and taunt the monsters below. I recall one particular night where a group of agitated creepers were beneath the balcony, but I was well out of their reach. As I laughed and called them names, a creeper landed right next to me, having jumped down onto the balcony from a ledge above. I leaped away just as the creeper exploded and blew the balcony to pieces. I survived the blast, but fell to the lawn below, smack dab in the middle of the angry gang of creepers. Moral of the story, creepers always get the last laugh. An Early Encounter with a Zombie by Paul Soared Jr. Whilst recording a video tutorial about surviving underground, I had a near-death experience in a pool of lava. Quick thinking, fast reactions, and a bucket of water saved my life, so I was feeling good about having escaped death so expertly. Later, when I spied a patch of redstone ore on a narrow ledge above the lava, I was confident that I could collect it, despite the danger. Sure enough, I mined the redstone and was happily making my way back along the ledge when a zombie fell from above, landed at my side, and punched me. The blow knocked me off the ledge and into the lava pool, but this time my luck ran out, and I was burnt to a crisp. The moral of the story? Don't get cocky. An Early Encounter with an Enderman by Paul Soared Jr. Ah, the Enderman. A perfect gentleman, until you look him in the eye. I remember when Endermen didn't exist, which made my first encounter with one all the more terrifying. At that time, I had countless victories against the many familiar monsters under my belt. I felt like the unrivaled champion of the realm. And then I met an Enderman. It was dusk, and I was strolling through a field with no small swagger, when I suddenly spotted a strange figure in the distance. It was tall and thin, and black as night, with unnaturally long limbs. I was creeped out for sure, but it paid me no heed, so I crept closer to get a better look. The creature wandered about aimlessly, carrying a block of dirt in its long arms. It did not appear to be hostile. I continued to observe the creepy fellow for another few moments, and that's when it happened. It turned to face me, and I looked right into its eyes. It let out a terrible screech and began to tremble, but remained fixed where it stood, glaring at me. I freaked out and ran away from it. Then I heard a zip sound, and suddenly the thing was on me, attacking again and again. It was too fast, and I had no time to react. Then the world around me faded out. I was dead. The moral of the story? Looks can be deceiving and deadly. CaptainSparklez, my first day in Minecraft, survival single player, SSP. My first experience with Minecraft came in the summer of 2010, when the game was still in its alpha phase. I had been encouraged by a friend to try it, and began my experience with the browser-based multiplayer creative mode. For a few days, I experimented with the browser-based version before realizing there was a downloadable client for single-player survival mode. I had only watched a couple of Minecraft videos on YouTube at this point, and possessed only the most basic knowledge regarding overall gameplay strategy, but I decided to take the plunge. I loaded up the game and generated a new world. My character ended up on a hillside next to a beach. with a very sparse supply of trees. I had a limited understanding of the tasks a player should strive to accomplish before day's end, and a distinct lack of understanding of time allocation, so I decided to begin by exploring. Needless to say, my priorities were slightly out of order. Rather than beginning by harvesting the small amount of wood around my spawn point, I set off to find the coolest natural formation I could to claim it as my home base. After about 10 minutes of exploration, I stumbled upon an overhang formation that I was happy to call home. The only problem was that with less than 5 minutes of daylight remaining and no trees in sight, I was in a bit of a bind. Panic set in. I had found this great location to set up shop, but now I'd be forced to abandon it in search of wood. I found a few trees relatively quickly, but night was approaching fast. Due to my lack of experience, I ended up with only a set of wooden tools before nightfall, and nothing more. As soon as night hit, I realized my biggest mistake. I had forgotten to collect coal. No coal meant no torches, which meant I was completely blind in the dark. Up until the adventure update, night was pitch black. No brightness slider, no natural moonlight. I stood helpless in the pitch dark, listening to the faint sound of zombies in the distance. Thinking they were coming to attack me, I began to walk for my life. Not realizing that so long as you stand still, mobs won't spawn within 24 blocks of you and they won't pursue you until they're even closer. In retrospect, I realized this only further aggravated the situation. Things spiraled downhill pretty quickly from there. An arrow from a skeleton I couldn't see, punches from a zombie vaguely outlined in front of my face, attacks from a spider, all leading up to the dreaded hiss of a creeper that sent me to the respawn screen. With no beds in Alpha, I was sent back to my coastal hillside spawn to search again for my short-lived home base. This time, however, I'd be sure to do things differently, as to not let history repeat itself. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you want to know more about Paul Soared Jr. and CaptainSparklez as well as their love for Minecraft, I have left links to their YouTube channels in the description. But anyways guys, thank you so much again for watching. Be sure to leave a like if you liked the video, and subscribe for some more silly content from me. That being said, I have been Silly Gamer Dubs, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!